Tom here with another Transformers review, and today we have the pleasure of looking at MP-27 Ironhide. And this guy is pretty fantastic, to be completely honest. I was, similar to everyone else, I was a little apprehensive at first when I saw the sculpt and those, the hip panels, but after getting him in hand, he is absolutely amazing. The alt mode is spot on, and really, his robot mode is pretty darn close too. I mean, aside from that hip kibble, he is really, really good. So the largest accessory that he comes with is this sled, which is not completely accurate to any continuity, really. I think Ratchet was the only one that they ever showed with the sled in the cartoon. But just to give you guys an idea, essentially it's a stand for all the accessories. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So just to highlight a few of them, I wanted to show. So basically, this is the gun I had him holding. I'm going to show that back in the tray so you guys can see how that actually was able to store in there. But he holds it the same way. They have a tab on the gun, and it tabs into the hand just like all the other masterpieces do. This like radar dish can plug into the top of his arm, and then he can utilize that like in the cartoon. And then he also has a jetpack, which is really cool because they've yet to include anything like this with any of the masterpieces thus far. This is a really cool addition. I like this a lot. I think they really did a great job. The paint on here is phenomenal. The job they did with the burning effect are really good, and then the paint overall on this is really good in and of itself. And that just plugs onto the back. There's a port right there, and it plugs in right there. The chrome on this is pretty good. I do have a little imperfection. It's kind of hard to tell because there's some smudges, but I do have a little imperfection right there. So for the other accessories, they all kind of have to do with his hands. So these are all attachments that go onto his hands when they're flipped in. So all of these different pieces, and all of them are some type of like he had these different things that he could shoot out of his hands, and so that was what it was. And then there's these hands, which are really cool because this is the ones where you could actually shoot. In a couple of the episodes, you could shoot water out of them, and that's that. And all of these, the hand and all of these pieces have like a square port in them, and you can just plug them right on there. So now you can have him, kind of shooting out of his hand, like in the one episode where he did that. I think there were a couple episodes where he did that, but yeah. So same thing with these. They all just plug on right there. There's the square port inside there, and then the square peg just lines up, and they'll plug right onto there. They all do the exact same thing. And then there's one other accessory is the other gun. And basically, just to give you guys an idea, there's two guns that are identical, just like this. They pretty much are just painted silver. It's a really nice sculpt, though. There's a lot of nice line work in there. But yeah, they're just painted silver guns. And then his last accessory that's unique is his face sculpt. This is the yelling face, and you just pop this face right off. It's actually, mine's kind of loose, which is a little bit of a bummer. But you just take this one and slide it into here, and then it pops right into place, and then you have him with a yelling face. And that face sculpt, if you guys can see how good that looks phenomenal. They did a really good job with that one. I really like that. And the last accessory we can talk about is this gun. Now the gun actually tabs into the base right there, and you can leave it tabbed in there. I mean, you can tab it into his arm, I believe, as well. It's the same size port. So you can tab it into his arm and have it shoot off there, or into his back. Actually, it's also the same size port. But this missile, although it doesn't launch, is part of it. So that's pretty cool. I do have similar sprue mark issues on this guy though, which is kind of a bummer. And actually, I know it's hard to see because there's a lot of fingerprints in the chrome, but my chrome has some wicked bad scratches in it. Like there's one right there. It's hard to make out, but it's pretty deep. It's actually the point where the chrome is kind of getting taken off. But yeah, and you can really see how bad the sprue marks are underneath here. So that's quite a bummer. I mean, it would have been nice if they did a better job doing that, but I mean, it's a mass-produced item. So it's just a little bit of a QC issue. But yeah, so that's it for the accessories. Now we're going to get into articulation, and we can talk about one of the bigger issues with him. First of all, for the head, while the head sculpt is beautiful and it's painted, the helmet is painted really, really well as well. They did a really good job. So the head has the ability to turn left and right. It can look up, and it gets the cool. Okay, so I wanted to show this off too. This is pretty cool. And I haven't seen anyone talk about this yet. They didn't have this on a rocker really, but this piece down here where the head pegs in can actually come out, and that's not even part of the transformation. So they kind of added that for the ability to have him be able to look down. So you can actually get him to look down, which is really, really cool. They didn't have to do that. So the shoulders are great. There's no issue there. They go up that far. Now here's one of the problems. They can't rotate all the way around unhindered. You have to move it out and then rotate it. So that's kind of annoying. That's also kind of a weird thing in the transformation too. But he has a swivel at the upper bicep, and then he has a elbow bend, which gets him 90. So I mean that's fine. That's no big deal. So the hand can rotate and then open. It's got the same style opening as all of the other masterpieces with the slot in there for the gun. It does have a tilt, and that's due to transformation, but just down, not up. So that's kind of cool though. But one of the issues I want to bring up is the way this arm tabs in. It actually tabs in right here, and it's not the most secure tab in the world. But this guy does have a waist swivel. It's a little hindered because of the wheels in the back. They kind of block the mechanism that allows it to swivel. So the legs, he has flaps here that can lift up to allow the legs to go that far forward, and they can go that far back. So it's not optimal, but I guess it's okay. You can get it to go farther back by moving all this stuff, but then you're kind of breaking up the way it's supposed to be transformed, so that's okay. But that kind of leads me to my next thing. So that's how far they can go out. And while that's fine, it is kind of hindered. So you can undo this tire and pull this out, and then he can go farther out. So you can do that. I don't prefer to do that, but that's the issue with that sculpt. I thought when I saw this initially that these were going to be on some type of a ball peg or something, so that way they could tilt out when this wanted to go out, but they didn't do that. They're locked in place. So that really sucks. That's I don't like that design at all. They could have done a lot better job with this, and that's terrible. That's the one major issue with this figure, is that the limited leg movement because of that. You can get around with it, but you have to untab this tire, and that just kind of screws everything up. But to move on, he has a swivel above the knee, which is good. That's nice. He also has a swivel at the hip as well. And the knees get him just under 90. It's right there. So that's fine. And then the foot has a little bit of a back and forth. Nothing too crazy, but it's enough to kind of get what you want. And then it does have a tilt, an ankle rocker, but it's kind of limited. I haven't figured out a way to make that any better. And it's because of this, I think. I think I could get more if this panel wasn't in the way. But, that panel doesn't seem to transform anywhere else. So for the robot mode size comparison, I wanted to get him in there with a couple different size bots so you guys could see how he stacks up. So here is MP-10, and then Ironhide himself, and Sunsurge. So just to give you guys an idea, I hope it comes across well on camera. It actually seems like it is coming across really well. He's a little bit above. If we get MP-10 to be a little bit straighter, let's see if we can get his legs a little bit straighter. That's kind of how I have him posed in my display. But if we get him a little bit straighter so you guys can see, Ironhide is like directly up to his chest, and I think that works perfectly. And then with Sunsurge being like a car bot, he fits as far as that's concerned too, because they were kind of about up to the middle of Ironhide's chest. So as far as that's concerned, his scale is perfect. So now we're going to get into transforming this bad boy. So the way I like to start going from his bot mode to the van mode is with the arms. So the first thing I do is pop this apart. And I'll do it from this side so you guys can see better. So we open this up. And then this rocks that way. We twist the hand in. Twist this out. And then we want to accordion this piece back up and into here. There we go. There are 2 tabs on the top. So we just take those and lift up on them, and they pop and fold up like that. And then the front of the van pops out like this. And then the next thing you can do is this whole area right here slides up and out. And as you're doing that, it's going to lift up on this panel that his head sits on. And then you want to take this, and there's inside of here, there's this whole mechanism inside of here that allows this to articulate out. And then you can rotate this down and around. And then this will collapse back on itself. And then it's folded up just like that. Pop these tires out. Alright. And then these will slide out this way. And then you can rotate them. So just to get them out of the way for right now, I usually do that. The first thing you want to do is flip this down on each side. And then rotate the foot around. It just rotates just like this. It's opposite on either side. And then you want to rotate the leg at the knee. And that's where the transformation thing comes in. And then this panel right here, this panel right here, it has like there's a bump on this right here. And this will pop over that. But you kind of got to give a little help just to stop from there being any issues of it binding up. So once you get that over that bump, then you just kind of fold that up like that. And then this panel right here will flip out, and you kind of have to, it's on almost a double hinge in there. Just kind of want to get it to articulate around that, and then fold it up like this, and it'll snap into place, and you got it. So now the next thing you want to do is pull this tire out. So we just want to pull out right here, and that's it. It's on like a double hinge. It kind of flips out. So now the next thing you want to do with the legs is there's a tab right here on this side, and there's a port on that side. Just want to get them to tab together. So the next thing, I'm going to move these tires out of the way now, because now they're going to start causing problems. So let's get them down to where they're supposed to be. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. You have to collapse the legs, so the legs collapse a little bit. We untab them right here, and then they're going to fold. You can see how this is going to look. So this is the middle window, and this is the driver's side window. So you want this to basically come up and underneath here, and then try to get this to line up as good as possible. And then this is on like a sliding mechanism, and you just want to get this to slide back into place. So there's a tab here, a tab here, there's actually another tab right in there, tab there, and tab here. And this will go together pretty snugly, actually. This is binding up right here. 1 second, let me get this. There we go, got that. The last thing we want to do before we put the front of the van back in is flip this piece up, and then we want to get this piece of the van to articulate down. And then these guys have a tab right here on the front, and then there's a port. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but there's a little port inside of here. Actually, you can see it perfectly. And there's a tab on... Oh, there isn't a tab on here. My mistake. I could have sworn there was a tab on there. But it's just... Basically, these just slide into place once you have them where they're supposed to be. And I could have sworn they tabbed into that, but I guess they do not. I guess it's just the friction of them getting pushed into the crotch. And there's a couple retaining tabs on this that'll get it into place. But after that, there he is in his alt mode. So, as far as Ironhide's alt mode goes, there's really not too much to talk about. I mean, he rolls very well, which is great. I was a little apprehensive about that when I saw the way they mounted the wheels. I was a little worried that there would be some issues there, but they're really sturdy. They did a really good job with that. I have a couple problems getting panel lines to close up completely, but other than that, it's not bad. So he has a little bit of functionality with the accessories, but only with the square peg guns. I don't see anywhere else to mount any of the other accessories to. I thought maybe these guys could be used, but I think that's just for the pin. I don't think they're the right size. So the biggest thing with him, though, the biggest thing we need to talk about is the paint job, because they did. This is one of the coolest and cleanest paint jobs I think I've seen on any of Takara's stuff. So all of the line work on this is phenomenal. And there's some pretty intricate stuff in here, like these little black lines almost line up perfectly. They're almost 100% perfect. And on all these panels, that's pretty amazing. Even after transformation and me not getting things 100% lined up, they look phenomenal. And the headlights are chromed with like some orange paint on the side. The bumper is all chromed. They have these orange like running lights or turning signals on there. That looks great. The rims are all painted silver. Just, I mean, a phenomenal job. The Autobot insignia looks fantastic. The windshield wipers are painted. So that, I mean, they did a great job. This little area up here is painted gray, and the astonishing thing is they actually managed to completely paint this entire thing. And the only thing that's painted gray is this inner lip on this. The outer side of this lip is perfectly painted red. There's no like bleed on that at all. The only thing that sucks is on him as far as the paint is concerned are these guys right here. These are the only issue I have at all. It's molded plastic. I'm almost 100% positive. I don't think that's painted, and it doesn't match the color, which really that's the only issue with him at all. Other than that, I mean, like these back lights are actually like a translucent plastic, which makes them look phenomenal. That's a really, really cool touch. And then they have this painted silver right here, and the the exhaust and the bumper on the back are painted silver. So one of the other, and then the door handle right there. These door handles are great. They look fantastic. They're painted. The only issue I have again is, since I think this is one of the first figures, if I'm not mistaken, that Takara is doing chrome on for their masterpieces. I know there's not many. He's got some major scratching on here, and they might want to consider for future releases covering this with some type of plastic for shipping, because I didn't do that. And it's bad. Like it's so hard to make it out on camera, but it's almost like someone took like a Brillo brush and just kind of scraped this. So that's a pretty big bummer as far as that's concerned. But we're gonna get into some size comparisons with him in his vehicle mode, and then we'll do final thoughts. So here we are yet again for another vehicle size mode comparison. So here we have MP-10 in his alt mode, along with Ironhide and Sunsurge. This works really, really well. Just to give you guys an idea, so we'll get them side by side so you can see. So there's Ironhide. We'll get him right in front of the camera, along with MP-10. I think that's pretty fantastic. And then we can throw Sunsurge right up in the front, just for another one. And so Sunsurge is a little bit longer than him, but he's obviously a lot smaller. And as far as the size goes, I mean, yet again, Takara really, they knocked it out of the park. MP-27, Ironhide is phenomenal. So just wanted to do that for you guys so you guys could see how he stacks up. I just wanted to use Sunsurge only because, like, you know, I just got him and he's pretty darn sweet. And I still don't like transforming him, but he's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's MP-27 in his alt mode. So we're gonna get into some final thoughts. So for final thoughts on MP-27, all in all, this is one of the most interesting and probably fun masterpieces that I've seen Takara do in a long time. One of the reasons why I say that is due to the amount of accessories that he has. There really hasn't been a masterpiece from Takara to have this much playability since MP-10. I mean, MP-13 had a lot of stuff that he came with. Well, actually, he had one. It was one cassette or two cassettes? I think it was one or two cassettes. I didn't even get that one. I got the Toys R Us one, the TRU exclusive, because that one came with everything. But I mean, really, this is the biggest number of accessories I think we've seen since MP-10. He's great. they really just they nailed him. Aside from the issue with the hip skirts and the sprue marks and the accessories, there's really not that much wrong here. I mean, this is a extremely solid figure. And one of the things that you can really say is, I mean, like, what a redemption from Trax to this. Because, I mean, Trax is terrible. I mean, he's a light piece of junk. And I spent, I think, $15 more on Ironhide than I did on Trax. And I feel like I got a figure that's worth $300 more. This thing's phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing that they could just release Trax with just a floppy, empty, just terrible, light-feeling mess and come back and make a really solid, heavy, well-painted... I mean, Trax is painted well, but overall, Ironhide is I'd say 1,000 times better than Trax was. There's just so much more going on here, and they did a lot to make the figure better himself. So yeah, I mean, there's a few tiny negatives, you know, and just to comment on it, but on the TFW boards, there's some guys talking about some mods, and I think Peg for Life shared something on Facebook. So if you're actually interested in looking at it, it's pretty interesting. The guy actually was able to take these hip skirts off, and he was able to mount them onto the side of the front of the vehicle. And that, not only does it fill him out, but it stops him from being a hindrance. And, I mean, as far as that's concerned, that if they would have done that in the first place, this figure would be perfect. I don't see anyone doing anything better than this. I think the Voodoo one that's coming out looks like crap compared to this. I also think that they aren't up to par yet, and I've heard a lot of people saying that they think they're going to be out of business in a year. I don't know about that, but, I mean, it's after seeing a lot of people handle the Animus one they did, I would totally go for this. No question. This thing is superbly solid, and it's just a great figure all around. So you can order this. I don't know if you still can. I know that there's some places online you can get it. I suggest going through like one of the ones from in China or in Japan. I went through Ami, and there's a couple places, HLJ, HobbyLink Japan, I believe, and then Anime Export. I know when I first started getting into this, I didn't know about all of the different, you know, foreign websites that you could order these from. And no offense to BBTS or any of the bigger places here, but you can get these a lot cheaper there. So it just makes sense. This guy was, I think, 9,000 yen, Japanese yen, and that, I think, equated right now with the way the dollar is to just over like $70. And he's 90, I think, if you get him from any of the U.S. Retailers online. But I highly suggest him. I got him in yesterday, and I haven't stopped playing with him ever since. I've transformed him probably like 30 times, and that's not just getting prepped for the video. It's a phenomenal figure. Aside from the tiny issues, he's great. Go get him. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you stick around for some more.